All right, guys. Well, it is time for the weekend live stream. We are back for a little bit early today, about 7:30 a.m. EST. We are going to be starting off by talking about a little something that I think a lot of people struggle with, and it's not that hard to fix if you make an active attempt to do it, and that's basically what I'm coining selling yourself as a developer. And I think this is a important aspect to have, and it's something that I've struggled with in a sense, to be humble, that I think I've left money on the table in the past because of it. So what I mean by selling yourself as a developer, and for those of you who are new to the weekend live stream, every Saturday we do a live stream where I usually will start off with a topic, in this case, selling yourself as a developer. And then as people funnel in, we'll start taking questions, and we'll just, it's basically a little bit of mentoring is kind of how I look at it, where, nobody was really there for me when I was trying to get my start and answer some questions. So that's what this is all about. It's about answering those questions. And we do it every week for about an hour, sometimes a little bit more. Selling yourself as a developer, when you're trying to get a job of any type, you have to have your pitch, right? You have to have your sort of your bullet points about why you're great. And you say, Dylan, I'm not great. Well, you need to change that mentality, because no one wants to hire somebody who's not great, right? So either you really are just awful or you're great. Okay. So and what I sort of mean by that is, when an employer has your resume, there may be things on there they don't understand are all that great. They may not understand that having a YouTube channel, why that's a great thing. They may not understand why the free code camp certificate, what that entails. So it's up to you to say, you take the free code camp certificate, it's 500 hours of coursework. It is, 10 projects, 30 algorithms, a bunch of, courses, and you sell them on the skills that you picked up and how that led you down this road. You say, okay, well, I started free code camp and I did all this stuff. It got me introduced to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. From there, I started building things in AngularJS. I then got my role here, and then I started doing React, and I started doing this Angular 2, and then but you have to sell them on you as a developer. And if you already don't have those things pitched in your mind about who you are as an employee, who you're trying to represent yourself as, it's going to be hard. So I just want to sort of make a general announcement of saying, like if I were you were the employer, I am the employee, and you're trying to get to, and they say, hey, Dylan, tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, okay, well, I'm a self-taught dev. I was in a computer science program, but I really, really was miserable during it. It's okay, I had a little bit of humor, by the way. I told myself I was going to the self-taught route, and that's when I started doing things like Free Code Camp, which is an open source boot camp. It's 500 hours of coursework, yada, 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 right? I started building projects, and I have my YouTube channel, which I really love. It's a passion project of mine, where I'm touching, I'm having some sort of influence and helping those who are, below my level or want to learn. I have 1 million minutes watched every month. Throw that million out there. That's a big word, right? People like that. 1 million minutes watched every month. And I volunteer through code.org, and I go to meetups, on the regular. And I'm basically looking for an environment where I can progress as a developer. What I want to do is I just want to make sure that the developer I am a year later is going to be twice the developer I am today. And that would be my 1 minute to 90-second pitch about, so tell us a little about yourself. And then I might go into like, I also am writing a book, and I have some Udemy courses. And then my girlfriend I've been dating for about 8 years. And then the women in the room, if there's any women, it's like 8 years. And they say, yeah, we're going to settle down soonish. And then, I have 3 cats, and that's really me in a nutshell. But you have to have that sort of pitch ready. You have to practice it. You have to make it feel fluid, and it has to obviously all be true as well. Something to consider. So, but I do feel like, especially at any junior level role, that you need to focus on you and selling yourself. There's a God, look at these fucking black eye circles on my eyes. Jesus, I look like I'm Walking Dead. But I would say, please focus on having that ready. Because at the end of the day, you have to sell yourself. If they are giving you a job and you need to be able to sell it, you could be the best developer in the world with the best ideas. And if you don't brand it properly, if you don't package it properly to give to somebody, it's just not gonna work out. That's just a tough reality, you know. So just something to consider. Walking Dylan, yeah. All right. Feels good to watch Dylan after cutting for almost 3 hours. Hey, it ain't one of those type of webcam shows, you know what I'm saying? Let's see. What do we got here? So how is this if I threw myself like this? Hey there, recruiter. I'm experienced in DevOps, but I learned myself to become a web dev. Here's my portfolio. Would he still be looking into my portfolio? PS, no experience in web dev working. Yeah, man. I mean, there's plenty of places that want developers to have DevOps experience. All those skills, they all help. Now, I don't know that you're just going to reach out to a recruiter and they're going to get you a job. Usually, it's hard for recruiters to do anything unless you're an easy sell. That's kind of my opinion about recruiters. I am an easy sell for any junior level role. I am passionate. I have an active GitHub. I have a ton of side projects. I have my YouTube channel. I interview well for the most part. My communication skills as a developer are probably in the top 10%. So I'm an easy sell. So recruiters like working with me. The only thing that they don't like working with me is that I cost a lot of money. I get I get people all the time, recruiters all the time reaching out, and I want to have phone calls. First thing I say is, if you can't get me this salary range, we have no point having a phone call. And about 9 out of 10 say that can't. All right, cool. So that's the only thing recruiters don't like, because recruiters want easy sales, and it's harder to sell someone, even if you're a great product. In this case, I'm the product, right? Or you're the product. A recruiter, their product is an employee, a potential candidate. Even if you're a great product, not everyone wants to spend money on the high-end products. Like they don't, there is a point there. So, like, I don't accept roles that are at market value. I don't want to be at market value. I want to be above market value. And a lot of recruiters want to get you at market value or below market value. And if that's the case, that's cool. You're just not going to be working with me. So when you sort of take that mentality of you are the product, even as an employee being interviewed by the employer, you need to sell yourself. I mean, that's the truth of that. No one's saying lie, but you need to present yourself in a good light, and you need to give them the information about why you're such a great product. Have I not been sleeping? No, I usually do. I went out drinking last night, but I got sleep. I probably went to bed at 10-ish, and I got home around like 9, and then I read a couple chapters of the book I've been reading, and then yeah, I know it's probably just alcohol that's making me tired. What's my IQ? I don't know. I've taken a couple of those online IQ tests, and I've scored very high, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. That was a long time ago. Well, you can do that now because you have experience. What about someone who doesn't have work experience as a developer? Well, I'm not telling you to take no one. So look, you think I was arguing for above market compensation with, like, look, man, I got no experience. What? It's 70,000. 70,000. I'm gonna need 90. I'm gonna need 90. No experience. No, come on, man. We all have to start somewhere. My very first internship was 2 hours away, and I was getting paid $12 an hour, 2 hours each way. So I was doing this stupid internship for 3 months, and it's $12 an hour, 2 hours there, 2 hours back, 2 hours there, 2 hours back. And so I was getting up at like 4 or 5 a.m. every morning and driving there. It's awful. But I did it because I wanted the experience, and I did it because it was my game plan on how to become a developer. And then from there, I took a role. I started freelancing. I got paid $15 an hour, my first freelance gig. Then I got paid $20 an hour. And then I ended up working as a technology trainer, like a technical writer sort of role. What's going on with my hair here? Technology trainer role for $22 an hour, and then I got my first developer job. But yeah, you don't just start off. I mean, you don't necessarily start off at 6 figures or at a 35 an hour or whatever it is, whatever you consider what a large amount of money. But you do work your way out. Are you sure you don't want to go back to university? I'm so unbelievably positive. I had that conversation yesterday with my course mentor. Bless his heart. I understand where he's coming from. But like, here's the thing, man. Realistically, in the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, I'll probably be making. I already make what probably might between YouTube and like courses, what that degree would have given me in terms of salary, but in terms of happiness, I definitely do not want to go back to school. I mean, I knocked out 3 courses in 3 months, and then I had 2 more I was gonna knock out. I just couldn't do it, boys. I'll be honest with you, man. I need it. It was taking away everything from my soul, and what I see. This is what's crazy is it was actually exactly what I wanted. This is how much my brain is just like anti-structured waste of time is how I look at anti-degree programs. It was exactly what I wanted. It was a quick route and a cost-effective route to get a degree. I'd still give it a 9 out of 10, but it's just not the right environment for me to excel at. Oftentimes we try to put ourselves in these boxes that the world has said, this is how you succeed, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. And we try to conform ourselves to that. And I forgot that the way that I've been able to succeed is by going my own route. That the most successful that I've ever been in my life is by just blazing my own path. And you definitely don't do that in college of any type. So, how am I going to make up? So what you have to do is when you make these decisions, and I'm writing a book about, it's called Going Rogue, the self-taught developer playbook, right? So you might see me doing some live streams on Twitch, writing it and whatnot. But the thing you have to consider is, okay, I'm not getting a degree. I'm already a working developer, but like, let's say I'm starting from the get-go, right? I want to be a developer, but I'm not getting a degree. How do I break that door down? How do I jump right in and get started? Well, you have to do other things. You have to go a non-traditional route. And does that mean that you just took a 4-year shortcut and saved yourself 40 grand? No. But it does mean that it does mean that, but there's not 4-year shortcut. You have to make up for that. How are you going to make up for that? Well, I'm going to do some personal branding. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to build courses. I'm going to have a YouTube channel. I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to get certificates. But to get into management positions, you kind of need that degree. Yeah, that's fair. That is something that's more than likely to be a requirement. But the more I think about it, the more I just want to work for myself one day, right? So 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when I'm probably have the amount of years that I would need to be in a management position, I would probably, with YouTube, with the Udemy courses, probably then books, in a good month right now with YouTube ad revenue, with courses, with affiliate links, I'm making like $1,500 a month. And so that's a pretty solid amount of money to be making. I'm not even 3 years into YouTube. And so let's say, the channel growth doubles every year, something like that. I don't think that's too unrealistic. The money starts piling in. And so that money that I wanted for management and all that, I could get that from YouTube. But really, what I just want to do, I just want to code, man. As crazy as that sounds, I just want to code. I've started projects. I just want to code and be happy, I guess. And so when I was doing these things, am I not possible of forcing myself to go through this program? Oh no, I definitely could do it. The classes, I'm finishing, a class every 2-3 weeks. Can I not afford it? No, I'm paying it out of pocket. Didn't take a single dollar of debt to do it. Do I not have the time? No. I slowed down my progress. Every morning I woke up, worked on it. Every day I came home, worked on it. Was it hard? Nope. Passed my final every first time. Passed it like that. But is it the best decision for my career? And that's debatable, because the best decisions I've ever made for my career is blazing my own path. And so how do I make up for this? I'm no longer going down the school route. Well, you do it by, I'm launching my first web application in the next 3 months, like actually launching it. It's going to be a long-term project I maintain, continue with the book, continue with the courses. That's all. I just do the self-taught route, man. Let's see here. What is the right pay for a no experience dev? What is the actual number that can be considered decent? That varies by location. It varies by skill. Honestly, I'd worry less about pay and just more about experience. So you can always try and get paid well, but I would say take a role. Even if they paid you minimum wage, as long as it had front-end engineer, software engineer in the title, and you were doing that sort of stuff, I would say take that role. 3 to 6 months in, start applying elsewhere for a real salary. How many years before you consider yourself a professional? I think you're a professional once you get hired by somebody else, or you have web applications that are deployed and effective and making you money. Dylan, I'm working for a small family business, which I love. They pay me $10 an hour, and I'm doing some pretty complex projects, managing 5 websites. How do I get them to pay me more? You could have a basic conversation about what your market rate is, but what I would suggest even more so before you have that is to have another offer in hand. Go to them, apply elsewhere. It sounds like you're doing some great stuff. Apply elsewhere, get an offer that day, talk to them, and talk to them about that exact thing. And if they say, all right, well, based off what this offer has, you're going to get around 20 an hour, maybe double your income, either take that offer, or, if you really want to work with these people, ask them to match it. I know a lot of people aren't about matching it, but you can just hit them with the ultimatum and go. No, I ain't going back, dude. Let me tell you. So the one thing that I will say I got out of this, I got 2 certs out of it, out of going back to school. And, but the one thing that I got out of all of this, last 3.5 months of just sort of soul searching with college and whatnot, is that I got the answer that I am not going back ever again. We're not going back. Remember the guy in Lost, and he's like, we have to go back. we have to go back, and everyone's looking at him like crazy. Just invert that situation. Like, we're never going back. We're never going back. All right, that's for those of you who are like 10 or 15, you may not understand the Lost reference. That's okay. Just roll with it. Yeah, man. So I mean, it's basically a $3,500 learning experience. I said, you know what? I got my answer. And and now I know what I have to do. But God, there is one awful situation where I might go back. I have trouble saying no to free things. So if a company came to me and said, huh? I see, even April says no. I told her that never let me go back to college. But if a company told me, look, we want to make you this position, but we need you to go get a bachelor's in some bullshit, just any bullshit. It doesn't matter from what school, doesn't matter what it's in, but some bullshit, we're going to pay for it. That would be the only situation. And that would be a great situation to be in. Like, hey, we want to give you this fat salary, this fat title, all that sort of stuff, but we just got to get you this little degree. Company policy or something like that. That would probably be the only way I'd go about it. But I don't ever see myself going back. But that was kind of the benefit of going back and getting that answer, right? Oftentimes the things that bother us most in life are the items that we never did, those things that could have been. Whether you were successful or whether it was a failure, it's the not knowing that is the problem. And now I know that I am never getting a degree. So I'm okay with that. And this goes back to the video about when I turned 30, I did a video about 5 things I wish I knew. And even then, like, so one of my points was just love yourself. With who you are and accept yourself for who you are. And you know, who I am is not somebody who likes college. It's not somebody who succeeds in college and survives it and finds a lot of value in it. And so it's very hard for me to get motivated to go and really get that piece of paper. That's how I kind of look at it at the end of the day. So but that was kind of what it is. I've not heard anything about the CS program for our WGU. When you're looking on Stack Overflow for these remote jobs, should you apply to these senior jobs if you're comfortable with Node, React, Angular, Bit, and more? I mean, it never hurts to apply jobs. It takes you 2-3 minutes of your time. But I mean, I personally am of the belief that you should be working in-house for the first several years of your career. I think it's good for your career. I think it's good for your skill set. And I think you'll learn a lot more. And it's going to be very hard to get remote roles when you first get started. Do you love spending money? Tell us a little bit about your financial habits. So I am very fiscally conservative, I would say. I have 0 debt. I have 1 credit card, which is there to build credit. My car's paid off. I have no student loans. I have 0 debt. Quite literally, there is not $1 of debt. There's not $1 of debt for me. I save 50% of my income. I buy things cash. I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer that if you can't buy it cash, you shouldn't have it. So that's not to say that you have to buy it cash. I'm going to be buying a new car relatively soon. April's going to take my current car, and I'm going to go buy myself a Honda Civic Sport. It's like a hatchback Civic, basically. So that's the car I'm going to be buying myself, and I'll be financing about $5,000 of that. The reason I'm financing the $5,000 is I want to build credit because that's the world we live in. But I'm a big believer that if you can't buy it cash, you're not ready to buy it. Like if you have to finance your phone, I'm not saying you don't finance your phone, but I'm saying if you have to, because you can't save $900 or $800, then you need to consider not making such bad financial decisions. And you don't need the phone. You don't need an $800 a month, $800 phone. So I save 50% of my income. I buy things cash. I do grocery shopping. April and I don't go out too often. The one area where I could definitely improve upon is I go out to lunch with my coworkers every day. Spend anywhere from $10 to $20 on a lunch. Usually on the lower end. It's very rare for me to spend $20 on a lunch. But yeah, I mean, I invest. I play around with investments. Go from there. But that's the gist of it. I save money. I'm currently paying for both of us. April's unemployed, so that's something that is draining in the investments a little bit, as well as college. Right? College just cost me $3,500 in the last 3 months. So yikes here, huh? But yeah. This is the essential oil diffuser. The thing that you think is throwing up the steam. I mean, just kind of cool you off, I guess, but that's not its point. Do you feel there is a stigma against web developers wherein software engineers are developing in languages like Java, C++, C# have a superiority complex? No. I mean, I work with the bulk of my work is C# devs working with .NET Core, which is specifically designed for web development and managing data. All you're basically talking about there with Java, C++, C# is be able to do the back end. So what you're really asking is there stigma against front end versus back end developers, because the bulk of development is now web dev. So no, I don't think so. I mean, I do think that where you might be interpreting there isn't that they are web developers and then you have the C++, the C#. What I think you're saying there is web developers, by and large, especially in the front end, have usually less traditional education sometimes. And so because of that, you have people who have maybe more traditional educations because, Java, C#, those are all things that are taught in a computer science program a lot of times. And, traditional object-oriented programming languages. And so you have computer science majors versus the rogue devs, and so do CS majors have a problem with the rogue devs? And although I would say most of the time, no, I would say there is some sort of correlation with that, more so than other than that, because I have seen, but this goes for any. I see it. I hate making this point because we're talking about a very small percentage of people. There are people who have chips on their shoulders all the time. There's a guy who on LinkedIn, the guy who basically said, I know, delivery drivers could make coding tutorials. All he does on LinkedIn is post about how bad coding boot camps is. This guy is clearly a senior developer. He's doing great for himself, but he clearly has a chip on his shoulder about whatever. So there are people like that. Have I ever worked anywhere you knew more than the senior dev? That's a very loaded question. I mean, there's certain things I've known more on certain topics. My last workplace, the senior dev was a better developer than I was, but he definitely didn't know Angular very well, and he wasn't a JavaScript dev. He was more of a PHP dev. So there's things that you knew I was probably more familiar with, I think is a better way of putting it. I think you're trying to say that Were you ever in a situation where your boss was an idiot and you knew better? And I don't really like to look at it that way. What I would like to say is that there's so much to know in software that it is not beyond the realm of possibility that when it comes to certain subject matters, that you'll know things and they'll know things. And even in my current situation, my tech lead is brilliant. He's just a super smart guy on a different level. But then there's things that I know that he doesn't know, right? Just even little things like, yo, you don't have to do this in the HTML, like little things. So when you say like, are you in a situation where like, oh man, my lead is an idiot, or the senior dev I'm working with is, how does this guy even have senior in his name? I haven't been in one of those situations, but there are times where you'll know something they won't know, and they obviously know things you don't know. And I think you have to have a healthy approach to that and not just look if someone's an idiot or not, which is kind of what that question is asking. How much is the cost on average for living in Florida? I'm not quite sure how to weigh that, but it is much cheaper than Los Angeles, California. How's it going? Well, man. I am. Oh, speaking, if you've made it this far, so some of you guys have been bitching about my live streams going up and being taken down. The weekend AMAs stay up, but where I'm doing some free writing or I'm doing some live coding, I take those down because it's a bad experience. I'm often listening to music in the background, but I have now set up Restream, which will stream it to YouTube and to Twitch at the same time. And so although I'll be taking the videos down on YouTube, I am leaving them up on twitch.tv/DylanIsrael. That's it. And you can go and watch the live streams that are there. So if you really want to watch the live streams, that is an alternative for you. It's also a great way for me to build my Twitch, just saying. But yeah, so if you go to twitch.tv/DylanIsrael, you'll see that there's now the live streams that are being there. The last two have been up there. So that's something I wanted to announce. I'll probably say something in an upcoming video about it as well. Do you consider yourself front end or full stack? Well, although I am employed to do front end, I am learning to do the. Here's the thing. So I consider myself full stack. I am employed as a front end engineer. Most of us will at one time be full stack with our roles, but the problem becomes not are you full stack, but and this is something I was talking about last night at the bar with my coworkers. Is in reality we have four front end devs at my work, and then we have about 20 full stack, and I use quotes there in full stack because most of the full stack devs don't do front end. They're all back end devs. So are they truly full stack? Now, can they jump into the JavaScript? Can they jump into the HTML? Yeah, they can jump in, but they're going to butcher it most of the time. And that's not to say that about everybody, but it does happen. So do I consider myself full stack? Yes. Would I go into the back end and probably butcher the back end as I'm, would it work? Yeah. Would it be the most monstrosity of codes? Probably to someone who's a back end developer, yes. But yes, I do consider myself full stack. I build full stack projects outside of work. Do I use any UX UI techniques while at the job? No. This is something I want to take a course on actually on Udemy. Is I want to get better at UX UI because I can't design for shit. Is there a good resource understanding this and when to use them for JavaScript? This just really refers to context. I think to understand this is just try to understand, just start using this and seeing what it's connected to and what it's related to, and it'll make a lot of sense. We're starting a live episode show and want to get off Facebook Live and stream to our own site plus YouTube, Twitch. Is it difficult? No, you just use Restream probably, and then you might have to use some API stuff. Yeah. Is my company a monster? No. This is the best company I've ever worked at. I have nothing but nice things to say about my company, although I am a little bit frustrated with them on something right now. I don't want to throw my business out there. Why did you choose to sell your courses on Udemy and not make a website and marketing it? I very well may make a website down the road. Be like, oh, $10 a month, get all my courses, $15 a month or something like that. But part of the reason was I wanted to, before I have that, have at least 10 courses out where you're really getting a nice value. And then I also wanted to put it out there. Oh, is my computer a monster? Yeah, I got a beast of a computer. I have 32 gigs RAM. I got liquid cooling. I also have a 12-core AMD Threadripper, and then I have SSD. And here, I'll give you a little peek. Can you see that through there? All right. And I got my GTX 1080 Ti over there. And I got room for it to grow. If for some reason I need more than 32 gigs of RAM, I can add another 2 in there. But yeah, so I have a pretty beastly computer. But yeah, so that was a treat to me. Yeah, and those I can change all those colors if I wanted to. But yeah, so I probably will eventually just launch a $10 a month platform, use some sort of Teachable or something like that. But by the way, that computer was $2,700. Bought it straight cash. Just throwing it out there. Technically, to build credit, I financed it for 3 months. I basically bought it cash. I paid it off in 2. But yeah, so I probably will. But on Udemy, Udemy's cool because for one, they have a lot of tools built in, and they introduce you to most of what you're going to be doing on Udemy is going to be most of what you're going to be doing on Udemy is you're going to get money from. Let me see if I can pull up my revenue report just to show you. You're going to get money from me selling my own course, but there are situations where, let me show you how much, where you can make money from Udemy itself, right? So like Udemy organic, meaning that people just discovered it. I've made a couple $100. I've made probably about a fourth of the money just by people discovering it on Udemy. So there is that aspect of it as well. So not only do I get that extra money, but I also get people that normally wouldn't discover it. Do I game much? Not anymore. No, I do have a PlayStation. I have PlayStation Pro. I have my computer that could play anything on Max, right? But no, I don't really game too much anymore. How did you become debt free? Did you have a lot of debt when you started working? I've never had more than about $7,000 in debt, and a lot of that was car debt, credit card debt, and I just paid them off one by one. When I had credit card debt, I had like $3,000 or $2,000. I borrowed it from my brother. I closed the cards because I couldn't be trusted. This one was like 20, by the way. This was a long time ago. And I paid my brother back slowly but surely. It's something I've always appreciated that he did for me. And now I have one credit card that I got maybe 6 months ago to help build credit again. And yeah, I've just been building my credit back up. Just pay it off. What PC do I use at work? I use a Windows. Don't you think it's cheap? I think a course should be worth $50 at least. You can think what it's worth, what it's going to be worth, but what are people actually going to pay for it? So I charge anywhere from $10 to $14.99 with my coupon code. Is it possible to create an e-commerce website using Node and MongoDB as backend? Yeah, why wouldn't it be? How long have we been going, guys? We got another 20 minutes or so. All right. What do you think about the Mac versus PC? I'm needing to upgrade bad. What's the min stats for a dev computer? That's a great thing about web dev. You don't really need that big of a computer, that great of a computer. I also think this whole Mac versus PC thing is just something made up by people who have no idea what they're talking about. It doesn't really matter. What matters is you getting your job done in whatever environment you're comfortable in. If that's a Mac, excellent. If that's a Windows, cool. Go for that. Any live streams coming this weekend? I'll probably be live streaming me working on some projects. Yeah. Don't be a shill. Don't be an Apple shill. Don't be a Windows shill. It's okay to like one over the other, but how deep will you take your Angular courses? What's the next project? Actually, course just came out. I have a video on Monday talking about it. It's Angular 360 Part 2. In there, we talk about components. We talk about services. We talk about pipes. We do unit testing in Jasmine and Karma. We also use GitHub to push it. We use Bootstrap 4, and I'm probably leaving one thing out, but it's a 6-hour course building an awesome cryptocurrency project. So we're hitting all these cryptocurrency APIs. There's sorting, there's filtering. We also built a chart that shows a year of data on Bitcoin. It was a really fun project. So it's out right now. If you want to if you're interested in it, I'll throw a link up in chat that you can get it for just $10. It came out 6 hours of content though, and then it was a lot of fun. It was a long project though. So it's in chat there for you if you're interested. Let me actually go and throw it up in the description too for those of you who will be watching this at a later date. Yeah, it was a really enjoyable project. Should I leave my work from home internship because I'm not learning anything new? I'm a college undergraduate. I'm a little bit lost about what you're trying to say here, man. All right. I just added it to the description. You might have to refresh your page if you're here live. What's going on, Victoria? What online degrees do you recommend for non-US residents start from data science? So here's the thing, guys. I don't have any input for you internationally at all because I don't know anything about it. I've worked with very few international developers. What do you think of Linux? I think it's a great skill to have on your resume, especially if you're interested in DevOps, and it's something that can make you stand out. That's pretty much it. I've seen roles where they would like, as a preferred skill, if you're familiar with Linux, that's always a great thing to have. It's always a great thing to have those preferred skills because that means you stand out amongst other people. I use Angular all the time. Hey man, appreciate all the info. Thank you, sir. Just start free code camp? Nice. I can't wait for them to release their new stuff, man. Oh my god. I think that might be something I do this weekend is I've for a while I've been wanting to film some videos for Free Code Camp's channel. Do a little collaboration, try and steal some subscriberinos. But yeah, Angular isn't TypeScript. I have 3 videos I want to do. One was about one was a Dolon video, one was a Ask the Dev type video, and then one was a project-based video. So there's 3 videos that I want to submit to the channel. Would I recommend Angular or React? It seems like there's a lot of push for React right now. So you're gonna hit that free full stack boot camp at General Assembly? That sounds like a pretty good deal. What is the new stuff for Free Code Camp? If you go to beta.freecodecamp, you can check it out. That name sounds very familiar. What's Boast? Let me Google it. But yes, I am familiar, but I cannot picture it right now. Okay, yeah, he's the React guy, right? Do I work out? No. I need to. I need to so bad. Yeah, those algorithms can get you, man. It's part of the process. So, Wes and Scott host a great web podcast called Syntax FM. Do I watch Coding Phase? I do not. How long did it take for you to get comfortable with Angular? How much knowledge did you acquire prior to Angular? Are you talking about Angular 1 or Angular 2? So just to paint the whole picture, I built my current website, codingtutorials360.com, as my one and only Angular project that got me my first job as a full stack developer. And then I just became familiar with it on the job. And my current role, I actually thought I was getting hired for an Angular 1 role, but I never coded in Angular 2. And I showed up, and they're like, yeah, you're doing Angular 2. I was like, oh, shit. All right. And then I just learned. I did some courses, and I started building some things, and that's the gist of it. So I had 0 prior knowledge of Angular 2 when I got my Angular 2 role. What happened to my podcast? What happened was I hated doing it. So one thing you have to learn about yourself is when it comes to, like, I have no problem working with the team, but like when my side projects are my side projects, and so I didn't like necessarily working with anyone else on side projects. Do you work remotely at my job? I do not. Do I have any plans learning Python for data science or machine learning? No, not right now. Is Vue a replacement for jQuery? I'm not so sure. about that. God, it's all a replacement for jQuery. I mean, that's the truth. Is we're all trying to get rid of the jQuery. God, I wrote. There's this project that had some jQuery in it. I is a C#.NET application. And there's some jQuery. It took me a while to get back up and running. I don't ever write any jQuery. I do everything in Angular now. I was just like, God, it's been a minute. Like it's almost like a flashback. Like I was like, we all like to talk shit on jQuery, but like jQuery runs a ton of the web still. So oh man. The jQuery, son. Why are you making fun of my dark circles, man? I was out drinking last night. I'm sorry. I rarely ever drink. And it just actually I just always have dark circles. They're just showing up better today. um yeah, man. jQuery and PHP for the win. PHP still runs like 90% of the web. How crazy is that? I guess it's just old websites. That's the only thing. Because like I saw a stat that's like PHP runs like 80% of the web and 90% of it is PHP 5. But all right, guys. Any last questions before we wrap up this week's weekend AMA? Give you guys 5 more minutes. Sound off. I gotta go upload some videos. Rumor on the street is that Dolan video might be getting recorded. I think Ruby will come back now. Hey now. So I don't know what that character is, but it says 100 something. I appreciate that. Thank you for the 100 Indian rupees or rubies. I appreciate that. Small token of appreciate your time. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. How can I become as awesome as you? Well, you need to just work hard. That's really the gist of it. Work hard every day. Have a game plan. Execute it. On that note, I think that might be what I do my video topic on. Someone asked me the other day is how to work hard. And I think I might have that be my free code camp video topic is how to dedicate yourself to working hard and long. And I think that'd be a good topic. And I think that might be what it is. So I usually like to I usually like to end these on a topic, on a sort of final thought, if you will. And so I think today's final thought is going to be we talked a little bit about selling yourself. We talked a little bit about knowing yourself, and so I think one thing that a lot of people struggle with, and I'm there too, is being able to love yourself, not the way you're thinking, but actually love yourself for who you are. And once you have that and accept yourself, you can sort of see your strengths and you can see your weaknesses once you've sort of accepted yourself, and then you can play towards those strengths and try to avoid your weaknesses. So I would just kind of have everyone, look at yourself in the mirror a little bit today, and ask yourself, are you happy with your current stage of life? And if you're not, have a very honest conversation with yourself about how you're going to change. And so that's going to be my final thought. On that note, guys, I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to check out the Twitch channel if you're interested in the live streams where I'm doing my coding and things like that. Twitch.tv/Dylan Israel. I almost said it. I almost said Coding Tutorials 360. Dylan Israel. And you can go to the Patreon, which his name hasn't been changed. It's patreon.com/Coding Tutorials 360. Check that out. And of course, you can check out my new Angular 2 course for just $10 using coupon code Coding God. 6 hours of coding magic, I might say. That we're going to be building a cryptocurrency project using some APIs in Angular. Is a great project. So if you're interested in that stuff, guys, check it out. I will see you this weekend for some live streams if you tune in, which will be taken down of me coding. I am going to upload some videos now. I am going to, after that, I have a mentoring session with one of you. And then I am going to be running some errands and then writing a book, continuing on for the next course. I might do a poll on the channel asking what the next course should be, so keep an eye out for that. But it has always and will always be a pleasure. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you soon.